Have you ever waited for something for so long that you almost gave up hope? Imagine holding on to a promise for decades, wondering if it was ever going to happen. That's exactly what Abraham and Sarah went through. They were promised a child who would change everything. But as the years dragged on, the promise seemed impossible. Until one day, everything changed. Abraham and Sarah had been waiting for a child for years. God had promised them that their descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky, a promise of a future, a legacy. But there was one problem. Sarah was barren, and now they were both very old. Sarah had begun to lose hope. She even tried to take matters into her own hands, giving her servant Hagar to Abraham so they could have a child through her. And Ishmael was born. But Ishmael wasn't the promised child. That wasn't God's plan. One day, 3 strangers visited Abraham. They weren't ordinary men, they were messengers from God. By this time next year, one of them said, "Sarah will have a son." Sarah laughed, not out of joy, but out of disbelief. How could this happen, she thought. I'm too old. Why did Sarah laugh? One of the visitors asked. Is anything too hard for the Lord? And then, just as God had promised, Sarah became pregnant. At the age of 90, Sarah gave birth to a son. They named him Isaac, which means laughter. Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Isaac wasn't just a child. He was a symbol of God's faithfulness, a reminder that God keeps his promises, even when it seems impossible. But not everyone was happy. Ishmael, Abraham's son with Hagar, grew jealous. Tension filled the household. Sarah, protective of Isaac, asked Abraham to send Hagar and Ishmael away. God told Abraham, "Do as Sarah says. I will take care of Ishmael and make him into a great nation as well. But Isaac is the child through whom my covenant will be fulfilled." Isaac's birth was more than just a miracle for Abraham and Sarah. It was the beginning of a legacy. Through Isaac, the promise of a great nation, the nation of Israel, would come to life. God's timing wasn't what Abraham and Sarah expected. It was harder, it was longer, but it was perfect. Because God always keeps his promises. Sometimes waiting on God's promises feels impossible. You wonder if he's forgotten you. But the story of Isaac reminds us God's timing is not our timing, but his promises are sure. Even when it feels too late, it's never too late for God. So if you're waiting for something, hold on, keep trusting, because if God promised it, he will make it happen. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe for more Bible stories and lessons. Let's keep growing together.